Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Linton. I was born between two flags. One side of me is American, the other side is Korean. Most people assume they know who I am the moment they see my face. But my life has never fit into a simple story because wherever I went, I always looked foreign enough to be treated like an outsider. Until third grade, I attended a typical Korean school. But in fourth grade, I moved to an international school. I thought it would be start of an adventures with new friends from diverse backgrounds. I never thought I'll be noticed for my different physical features. I still remember my first encounter with new friends. When I asked, "Can I play with you?" the answer is always the same. "We're done playing. Maybe next time." There was always a next time. But somehow, the next time never came. Although I look American on the outside, I was completely Korean inside. Korean was the language of my childhood, of lullabies, of family dinners. It was the language I thought in, the language I dreamed in. English, on the other hand, was not my mother tongue. Quite interesting combination, right? Well, it was interesting enough to make me a target. Why? The moment my classmates noticed that my English was different from theirs, something changed. I stopped being a person. I became a strange animal in a zoo. Whenever I misspelled an English word, someone would shout across the room, "She doesn't even know the spelling!" And suddenly, a small crowd would gather around my desk, as if they were looking at something rare, something amusing. They would laugh, they would whisper, and others would just stare. And I sat there, frozen in my chair, looking like a wild animal in a zoo. Days passed by. My pillow was soaked with tears. I laid in the dark, asking myself the same question over and over again. Did I do something wrong? I searched for an answer, but the silence in my room was the only thing that answers me back. But then one night, a different thought came to my mind. If they're laughing at my English, then maybe I could show them something else. Maybe I could show them who I really was. So I made a decision. If there's one place that will not feel small, it would be Korean class. Because Korean was not a foreign language to me. It was the language that lived inside my heart. So next day in Korean class, I stopped trying to hide. I sat up straight. I raised my hand first. I let my voice be heard by everyone in the room. When we were assigned to a group project on Korean independent activists, I took a deep breath and said something I'd never said before. "I can lead a presentation." As a true Korean, I knew this topic more than anyone else. A few boys agreed to join my team, and I worked harder on this project than anything I had done before. I spent days and nights researching, organizing slides, and helping teammates with their scripts. For the first time, I was the girl hiding in the back. I was the one leading the group. On presentation day, my hands trembled a little. I talked about the courage of the freedom for my country, and the classroom became silent. For the first time, I felt something different. The whole class was looking at me, but this time, the eyes were different. There was no laughter, no whispering, no pointing fingers, and no mockery. When my teacher complimented the presentation quality as one of the best, the same student had bullied me, looked at me with respect. At that moment, I realized something important. All this time, I have been waiting, waiting for their approval, waiting for their smiles, waiting for someone to tell me you belong here. But my life does not and should not belong to their expectations. They could laugh at my English. They could question my Korean. They could whisper about my face and my accent. But they cannot decide who I can become. So since that day, I've chosen not to hide. And I chose not to apologize for being different. Because different is not a weakness. These changes me would never had happened if I hadn't been hurt. I wish I hadn't gone through it, but because I did, I became stronger. I no longer wait for someone to tell me where I belong, because now I know the answer. My life belongs to my choices, and I'm now proud to stand between two flags. Thank you.